relatively busy and easygoing day at the same time.
Cool. Hello, Gutsy Women, and welcome to another wonderful interview with another wonderful woman. And I have with me today the very lovely Kat Mitchell. She lives in the US, so I'm going to let her describe where she comes from, who she is, and tell us exactly what brought her to doing what she's doing now. Why is it so important to her? Hi, Kat.
ID, it is so great to be here. And I'll start by saying I'm in California, in Northern California, so east of the Bay Area, and it is finally, sunshiny and warm here. And been in California most of my life. And as far as who I am and what I do, I am one of those that moved from the corporate world into business, but not in the same way that most people would. I didn't like jump out of corporate going, all right, now we're washing our hands of that and we're going into business. No, I've been a caregiver for the last 10 years for different family members experiencing different health issues. And I jumped out of corporate in 2019 when my brother had a stroke, and I could not figure out how to work with all these different projects in 12-hour days and make sure that he got what he needed on a health journey and still take care of my mom who had Alzheimer's and dementia. So I jumped out of corporate for my own health and making sure that I could take care of me in the process. Yeah. And so that has been the start of my journey since then.
So, what then brought you from jumping out of there and having your own health needs and your own mental health looked after? What then made you flow is the good word? Maybe you flowed into it. Maybe what was it that
flowed
was
into
happening?
it.
Yeah, what was happening?
So in 2019, so I'd actually experienced coaching. I'd actually taken some classes because I had a manager in corporate say, hey, I want you to take some coaching classes and teach teams how to communicate together, because I had teams in India and I had teams in the US, and with cultural differences and other differences, they didn't always communicate well together. So that's where my coaching journey started. And not knowing where that would go after I left, I started studying the brain and neuroscience and conscious thinking and neural pathways to help my brother through everything he was experiencing, because we had to relanguage, we had to relearn just simple fruits and veggies and really stitching words together because of the impact that he went through. And so I started learning that, and then that stepping stone led to, oh, wait, there's conscious mind and unconscious mind. And how do those two thinking minds play nice or play in our world or impact how we think, believe, and, take action, what our behaviors are? And then, so it's really stepping into these stepping stones that led to, oh, there's a whole energy within us. So then, I explored Reiki, then I explored hypnotherapy because that works on the unconscious mind. So it was all these little stepping stones that every time I stepped on one stone, it's like somebody else introduced me to something else, going, oh, we can actually work with our conscious and we can work with our unconscious and we can align them. That sounds powerful. I want to know more because I'm a knowledge seeker to begin with, which can be good and can be bad. It's like learn, 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 learn. It's like, oh, now where are we going to take this? Which is how I ended up on this path and how I ended up really working with other women, because I realized I wasn't the only one going through all of this. I wasn't the only one experiencing all these life challenges and taking care of so many others. And then at some point I shifted in really realizing my dreams. And now I help others realize that they have dreams that they need to pull off the shelf and dust them off. And let's figure out how to move towards that.
Mm. That's a real journey you're going through. So your lived experience of being a care worker in your family, doing a caring role, that triggered something in yourself that thought, do you know what, there's some really powerful stuff here that needs to be used and for helping others. So that's a wonderful way of getting into it, because a lot of people come into the line of work that we're both in from a lived experience of either illness or anxiety or stress or trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those kinds of things. And what I'm getting from you is that yours was more to do with a more pragmatic, practical kind of role, and it just flowed from all of that. Because obviously working in corporate and being caring as well, that's going to cause a lot of stress, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And back in my 30s, I experienced that level of stress when I didn't take care of myself and ended up, not being able to walk, ended up having major back surgery, ended up, really just holding on to so much stress in my body that I developed knots in my spinal column. So I knew what that stress could do to me if I didn't, take care of me, if I didn't take a chance and, say no to working full time and trying to help somebody else. I knew that it was the right decision, even though it was a hard decision, because I was used to having that paycheck coming all the time. And I left without a plan. So, so, it was it was all those experiences from the past that said, oh, yeah, you got to do this for you. And you got to figure out how to take care of yourself while you're on this journey, because you said yes to so many different things that are good things to do. And, you're the right person for them. And, how do I make sure that I'm still moving forward and not, really developing any overwhelm or stress or even depression. There are hard days when you're taking care of others.
Oh,
You're
definitely.
like, oh, how long is this going to go on? And did I make the right decision? And
Mm.
so it's really daily checking in with myself. And now, luckily, my brother's doing really well. He's taking care of himself. He doesn't need me anymore. Um, and unfortunately, all my family members that I was taking care of, they have since passed. Um, and, you know, we did some great things, went on some great journeys. So like with my mom with dementia, even, every weekend we went on adventures every weekend and did some fun things. And she may not remember them after the adventure, but she was engaged because she was on an adventure. So there was a lot of give and take and learning in that whole process.
Mm. Yes. And it's memories that you can keep, and that, that photographs and things like that, they can always be used as little
Yeah.
memory joggers and things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
I might have the phone with 100,000 photographs on it.
You're going to have to buy one of those little sticks where it says, take all your photographs off and put it on here. You just make room on your
It's like,
phone for
why is
thousands
my
of,
phone running out of space all the
yeah,
time?
all these photographs, all these memories you've been collecting, Kat. That's what it is. And so,
Yeah, that's another challenge for later to solve.
yeah, that's right. Yes, I think we can shelve that for now. So when you were going through these kind of things for yourself, and you were realizing that there's still, corporate had its own stress, but obviously caring has a separate kind of stress, and there's a lot of mental chatter and emotional things coming up. Did you actually have hypnosis yourself to help in those things? And did you have other coaching or other kinds of counseling or anything like that for you to help you to cope?
So I've had coaches. I've had a lot of coaches along my journey in really working through some of my um, pain points and own challenges. I studied psychology and sociology way back many years ago. So, which is a totally different study than what I do now. So I understood that. And then I always had a circle of friends and community that I could connect to that maybe were going through some of the same experiences or had gone through the experiences, or just to step away and be human and, have fun and play and understand the benefit of all of that while going through all the hard stuff. Because a lot of times what happens is we get on these journeys that are hard and we're doing the hard stuff and we forget about the fun and play and laughter and, connection with other people that, you know, because we always feel like this is what we're supposed to do. We get stuck in our shoulds, which I've done a lot of in my life.
Mm.
And now it's like, oh, so I was just joking with somebody yesterday, because they were asking, there was a friend asked, what's the hardest thing about being in business? And I'm like, I forget to have fun. So now I've changed CEO to Chief Excitement Officer, and I've changed CFO to Chief Fun Officer. It's like, all right, we're gonna keep excitement and fun in there, and we're gonna really think of our business as how can we create excitement and how can we have fun, because that is something that our body needs, our neurology needs, our nervous system needs to know that we're not just, you know, doing. It's like, how can we sit in the being of life and know that we're here for life? We're not, we're not always here to push, and just give everything up, you know, every ounce of everything that we have to everyone else.
Mm.
And so that's been part of my journey, is really, how do I really sit in my own presence and, you know, and take in all this goodness that I've learned to share it, but also make sure that I'm taking care of me within that. And when you said the sheep and the cows, that's why I was so excited. It's like, ooh, that sounds like a great place just to sit in that presence and that silence and take in all the, some of the smells might go a little off, but all the goodness of the, fresh air and
Yeah.
the grass and whatever is around.
Mm. Yes, it's beautiful. We don't get any of the farm smells, if you get my meaning. Good, because it's all open air, it's all out there, and they're just in the field, just out back. And some mornings I get up and we've got sheep and lambs, and another morning I'll get up and we've got cows and calves and rabbits.
Yeah, that
and
sounds fabulous.
it's just amazing. It's just wonderful, and it's very, very tranquil here. So it's a beautiful place to live. So yeah, so that is my fun. That is what I do. But I totally get you, Kat, when you say about the when you work for yourself, we do tend to forget to have fun more than more often than we should do, and so when you decide to have fun, what is it that lights you up as and that you can bring back into your work again?
Ooh, what lights me up? Um, I I like adventure and exploring and getting outdoors, and I'm very fond of lakes and streams and listening to water. so anywhere where I can follow a stream or jump in a lake or be in my kayak or anything like that is this calming, peaceful fun. And then, at the same time, I have girlfriends that we get together and do tea parties and, you know, high tea with fascinators and have a little, fun time like that, which is probably something you're very used to or you've experienced in the past. And yeah, we do crazy things like that, or, hop on cruise ships with girlfriends, done that many times too.
Mm,
It's really making sure I keep that balance in life and bring in the joy of life, the gratitude of experience, and the love for serving others, all in this nice little package.
mm. And that's something that we all need to do when we have things like stress, anxiety, all of these things, is how do we get away from that and actually having more fun in our lives and doing the things and making time for the things that we enjoy. They're the things that are going to lift the mood and help with things like chronic pain and illness, isn't it? You
Oh,
know, it's
yeah.
yeah.
So, and a lot of that is, we get caught up in our stuff. And a lot of times our stuff is, starts from when we're a child, when we were a child. And so, and that's the reason why I love the tools that I have now in my tool bag, so to speak, in what I do, is because I've actually helped clients release those negative emotions that we carry through our lives. And when we do those releases, it's not like the memories go away, but the negative emotions, the negative emotions, I can't even speak, that are tied to that thing that we keep going back to. And when we're releasing that, we can release the shame, we can release the guilt, we can release the shoulds that we get so caught up in, because we tend to carry this pack of guilt, shame, shoulds, anger, frustration, all that, and we carry it through our lives. And it's learning, in some cases, for some, it's learning, really, what are those identities that we need to shed that we're carrying through? What are those needs that maybe we haven't had met because we didn't think about the fact that, you know, maybe we're not getting all our needs met. Maybe
Mm,
it's, um, you know, any number of things, but it's also sitting in, um, that meditation in silence and allowing ourselves to just breathe and relax, because we do, as humans, we get caught up in the shoulds. Well, I can't sit and relax because I should do this. It's like, well, who says you should? Where is that should coming from? Is that, something, is that a belief system that has you, saying should versus, or can I sit in silence? Can I take this time for myself? And when we release all that stress and anxiety from our bodies, you know, it allows our bodies to relax. And we
mm,
can drop our shoulders and we can breathe in the goodness and we can breathe in the gratitude, and not always going to the guilt and the shoulds and all that
mm,
stuff that we picked up, without any fault of, it's not really putting blame on those past experiences. It's learning from those past experiences. It's like, all right, yeah, I learned some stuff when I was a child, because that's what those people that I was raised with, our parents, our aunts, uncles, whoever they were, that maybe taught us things. That's what they knew. Or maybe, sometimes it's I've worked with clients, a very few clients, but I have worked with some clients that their experience when we really talk about timeline therapy and we go really back in time, their experiences, they remember from past lives. So it's really, we learn stuff, and it's realizing that we have the ability to change or make different choices or create different experiences. And it comes down to what is it we truly want, and what is that experience that we want to have. And so it really starts with us, and really looking at each each person that I connect with, each of my clients, they sit and they really have to think, what do I want? Am I ready for a change? Am I ready to make shifts in how I think and how I'm being? Because that's where it starts. If they're not able to, take that first step, if they're not wanting to make a shift, then coaching, and you probably have experienced this, coaching doesn't really happen because they get so wound up. It's like, no, I can't do that because I really got to go this way. And we really want to help them go this way, but we can't like push them and pull them and,
Yeah, it all has to be
do it.
it has to be a mutually reciprocal process. And you what I'm hearing you saying is that we all have the roles that we play, and those roles bring with them expectations from others and from ourselves, because you can actually say something like, I wish my boss would have, now finish the sentence, because you've got an expectation of that. I wish my mother would have, I wish my dad had been more. And you can actually finish those sentences, and everybody, depending on their socialization, their upbringing, and their own expectations based on all of those events, every single one will finish those sentences in a completely different way. And
Absolutely.
that's all the expectations that are put on with every role we actually undertake. And so where do we strip off the suit of armor or the costume or whatever it is, and discard the role and be more us and more trusting? And yeah, so that's what I'm hearing. And this is where we all are moving along that timeline, aren't we, around growth and all of that kind of thing that's going on.
Yeah.
So when you work with people, what would it look like if somebody came to see you first? What would you be looking for, first of all, to actually hone in on what they actually needed?
It starts with really understanding when most of my clients they'll bring a problem to the table. It's like this little, they have a nudge to move in a direction. They have a nudge to do something different, but they don't fully understand, you know, they may not understand why they're stuck, why they're not able to move forward. And it's really digging deep into what are those thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that are keeping them stuck. What is their safety net? What is their, um, what is their desire? And then really looking at what are the tools that are going to benefit the most. So, they may, in some cases, there's somebody that has experienced coaching before and they still feel like they're challenged. Or it could be somebody that, like, I was just helping, I've helped a couple of my clients that had surgeries coming up, and hypnotherapy was the best approach for them because they wanted to find that calm and that peace before these big experiences. They had that anxiety building up. So my clients come to me from different paths, but it's really understanding what their needs are in the moment and then digging deeper and uncovering what the what the root cause of the, this highlighted challenge is, and figure out what is that identity, that maybe they suppressed way back when,
Yeah.
and then helping them understand, in all of their beingness, what it is they really desire, and not just maybe this high level flutter of, this is what I'd like, I think, because I get that a lot. I think this is the direction I want to go. Well, let's dig deep. Let's uncover and see where would that path really take you, and really feel that experience of going on that path,
Yeah.
and believing yourself.
Yeah. It's a very unique journey for everybody. And
Absolutely.
and I think what I'm getting from the conversation is highlighting how every single woman, especially every woman in this group, because this is the reason we're doing these interviews and these discussions, is to help people within the group really understand how every small incident or every life event, no matter how small or big, will have an impact on our psyche and on our body, and the way we actually move it through the mind and through the emotions will inform our body of whether it feels good or whether it feels bad, and how long that's going to be going on for. So it's been really fascinating to listen to the way that you weave things through there, Kat. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's a little weavy journey like this.
It's like following a little river stream, of
yes. And then
life,
getting another little bit coming off there and a little bit coming off there. It's kind of, yes. So
yeah,
one of those rivers that go through a forest, and all the fingers spread out and it goes different ways.
absolutely. It's like, let's see where we're gonna go.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, thank you so much, Kat. It's been lovely chatting to you about your work and what you do, and I can see why you love it so much, because it is one of those, if you're a deep diver and an explorer, then that's definitely, you're in the right place to help people to actually go into themselves and actually do that. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. This has been fun and exciting and powerful. And yeah, I love what I do, and I love what you are doing. And thank you.
Thank you. I want to just say to everybody watching, please contact Kat if everything and anything has resonated with you. If it's triggered something in you, a thought or an emotion or something like that, then please get in touch. Comment in the video underneath here, ask questions, and Kat will be putting her details into the place within the website, which is in the featured section. I will tag you in that, Kat, and show you where to put those things in, and she will be there, and you will be able to find her very, very easily by going into that space. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again sometime tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Kat.